The challenge for us all in business is we only have 24 hours in the day. In the sales profession, it's a real challenge to get everything done and also to ensure you have time for a personal life and spend time with family, friends and doing hobbies. The reality is though in sales, we spend lots of time chasing and doing time-wasting things that make no difference to our end result number. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 4 key things that you need to avoid if you want to stop wasting time on chasing prospects that are never going to get you business. So the first problem that I see on a regular basis that wastes so much time for salespeople is preparing proposals that are doomed to failure. Don't waste time completing proposals that you've not engaged with, that you've not qualified effectively, or if you've not really understood the prospect. It's a waste of your time, it will eat up your time and resource, and the chance of getting success from those deals is very, very limited. Focus on actually ensuring you get to know the prospect, what their key problems and challenges are, what they're looking to achieve, and if they're then in a position to create a proposal, then use that as a follow-up. Don't just waste time chasing proposals that aren't going to go anywhere. The second issue that you have to avoid if you can make the most use of your time as a salesperson is having meetings for meeting's sake. I know lots and lots of salespeople that love to have a meeting, and why? Because it shows to their boss that they've actually done something. The reality is if you're in that position in business, you need to really take a check of what you're doing and how you're working, because having a meeting for meeting's sake is not a great way in which to run a business. I've been there myself. When I started my first business, I used to chase leads. I used to go meet with people a couple of 100 miles away, even in some cases, when I'd spend all day on the road, and I'd get there and think, well, that didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. Really focus on qualifying the prospects that you're engaging with, defining the next stages in the sales process, and if that meeting is then required, great, go and have it. But don't just put meetings in your diary for meeting's sake, because it will waste time, use up time that you could be using for real prospecting or real client engagement. And if you do waste that time, you're going to find when it comes to the end of the month and you're short of your numbers, you're chasing around looking for business that isn't there. Focus on great meetings that make great sense and make sure that the ones that aren't qualified properly, you're not sure of the value, put them in the bin or reserve them for when you've got other time to do. The third biggest issue that causes such a lot of time wasting for sales professionals and business people is creating new responses to emails and to phone calls every single time they engage with a prospect. I've worked with a team and I used to say to them, how many times would you create a different email to respond to that prospect? And the answer was every time. And they used to say to me, James, I don't want to send the same email to someone. I'm unique. I want to build a unique communication with that person. I totally agree that you need to make your communications with prospects unique. But a lot of the time, 70 or 80% of what you do is pretty consistent across your business. And if it's not, if you're telling different things to different people, you're going to have some challenges as you do actually do business with them. Create some standard text that can outline about you and your company, or certainly outline what it is you want to do to approach them and to engage with them and to work with them. And then use the 20 or 25% of that call that you've had to then personalize the email or personalize the communication. But don't recreate something from scratch every time. It's a waste of your time, and it's going to mean that you're not then focusing on engaging with prospects, following up with prospects, and doing the sales activity that's going to make your number. Use some content material that you can store in your PC or in your CRM system, and then reuse that content time and time again when you engage with prospects. Yes, sure, look at it to change it maybe once every couple of months, but use it as a template to move forward with, and it's going to save you a huge amount of time. And the fourth issue that happens with lots of salespeople that I know is that they chase prospects who they thought were interested in what they offered, but they weren't. The reality is we've all been there. We've all engaged with prospects who we thought there was a great opportunity. But when we look back afterwards and we think, could I have done more in that first call or that engagement? Could I have asked better questions in order to ensure that I wasn't wasting my time later down the line? The reality is, if a prospect has engaged with you, they like you, you've built a rapport, and feels that you have a solution that can solve a problem for them, they're going to want to consider the next steps. They're going to want to look at what that next step is, whether it's a demo, a trial, a visit to another site. The reality is if you can't get that in place, you've got to question whether the prospect's really interested in what you've got to say, and are they just being polite so that they don't actually want to say to your face, no, they don't want to work with you. But as salespeople, it's our job to understand really where the prospect is and to then follow up effectively. And if we don't do that, we're going to spend a huge amount of time chasing people who are just simply not interested in what we have to say. Have your engagements, be clear about what your purpose is, and be clear about the next steps and the time scale of that steps, and really ask the prospect, is this something you want to move forward with? Ask the questions. If they are, you'll get the right responses and it will save you wasting huge amounts of time in the future. So there are 4 key things you can do to avoid wasting time. We've only got 24 hours in the day, and the job of salespeople like ourselves is to make sure we maximize the use of that time. The best, highest performing salespeople know the value of their own time. They know that their time is precious and they're not going to waste it chasing leads and opportunities and prospects that are never going to give them business. So take the 4 elements of advice on board, work to adjust your plans and your schedules, and I'm going to assure you, you're going to get better sales results. My name's James White. I'm the UK's leading prospect conversion expert. I hope you liked the video. I hope it's given you some insight and some tips on how you can do better and achieve better sales results. If you like the video, please share it. If you love the video, please subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have the chance to send you my latest videos on a regular basis, and I look forward to sharing more tips and stories with you really soon.